When building a UI with Budibase, we have a screen. And on that screen, we can place components. The component library down the right-hand side of the screen shows a whole host of components that you can use to make your application exactly what you want it to be. We've got headlines where we can add in our text. And each of these components has properties that can be adjusted. They can be named, so headline. They can have colors based on our theme. We make them bold or under italics and underlined. This headline component has lots of things that it can do. With almost every component, we can set some margins to determine how spread out it is compared to other surrounding components, top, right, left, and bottom. We can add some custom CSS to be able to decide if there is something that we can't do and we would like to be able to do. We can add that with custom CSS. It's just going to target that element. And we can use conditions to decide whether or not an element is visible or not visible, or to update some setting. For example, I might change the color to, yellow if, and then we can do our bindings if the device.mobile is true. We'll save that. So if I make this mobile, my text goes yellow. If I make it full screen, my text goes green. So we can do lots with these components. We've seen already that we can use data providers to reach into some kind of data, and then a repeater inside the data provider, which then will let me be able to add a component for each of the things that are there. On the left-hand side, we can either click and drag things around, or we can click on the three dots and use move up or move down to change the hierarchy of where things are. What other components are there available? There's images and links. We can use view markdown and see maps. We've got lots of ways that we can build cool forms that we can use to collect data. And then there's some chart components that we can use to be able to track things graphically. As well as components, there are also some blocks. There's a table block, a cards block, and a repeater block. Now, the cards block does exactly what we've done here. It sets up a provider, it sets up a repeater, and it sets up a card inside it. So I can choose the task data. I can, on the card title, I could maybe have the task.name, and I could do that up here as well, in this other one with task.name. So they're both quite similar experiences, but this isn't a single block. So it's grouped together three components into a reusable block. There are other reusable blocks. There's the table component, which takes a data provider and the table, so we don't have to build those separately. And lastly, there's a repeater block, which rather than just assuming we're going to have cards, it does those first two, the data provider and then the repeater. So we choose the data, and then we can decide what we want to put in there. Okay. Now, something else we might want to do is group together different parts of our UI. So we have these grouping layouts. So we can put containers in. And inside of our container, we might have some text. We might have an image. We might have a card. So let's actually, what we'll do instead is we'll put our container inside of our data inside of our repeater. Put our card inside of our container. And beside our card, we'll also have an image, say. So let's add a component, which is going to be an image. Now for our container, what we can do is we can group and align things in our container differently from what's around it. So this way I've got the image on that side. I can move it up actually and put the image to the left. And they're being spread apart. But maybe I want them to be left aligned, so right beside each other, or center aligned. Again, I've got the ability to pad and add padding and margins. Let's put an image in here so that it looks helpful. Let's just add Phil Murray image. So actually now I see this card probably wants to be bigger. So I'll check the container. And actually I probably want them vertically aligned on the center so that card's right there. So with a container, I'm able to play with the alignment to make this look the way I would like it to look. Combining that with the components and the blocks, I've got a flexible building kit to be able to create really intuitive, really helpful, and really informative UIs that are going to help our customers and our users be able to achieve their goals quicker.